KILR Killer Games.
Hello, gamers, simmers, and pilots. I am the Killer Gamer, and we are back here with the Amiga version of Flight Simulator 2. And we are continuing with our world tour, and we are at Joliet. And let's talk about where we're going. If you're following the Commodore 64 version, you already know where we're going. Just kind of switch off here and we'll click on this, and here we are, and here we're going. Kankakee, Greater Kankakee. As I've mentioned in my Commodore 64 days, I would fly from Merrill C. Meigs, and I would fly all the way down to University of Illinois Willard, and I would be taking a break here. That would be my halfway point. Now that was on the Commodore 64. I can't remember if I did that on the Amiga or not, because by default the Amiga puts you someplace else. You don't start at Meigs Airport. You start if I can find, here it is. Yeah, Oakland International Airport. You start on runway 27 right. That is where you start. Now, there's not going to be any coverage for the Amiga the further west we go, because none of that was released for the Amiga. But when we get to the California area, we will pick up with the Amiga there. And I think it might be quite fitting to continue with the Amiga and do it from its startup location, which is Oakland International off of runway 27. So eventually all the other simulators will meet up to that point. Well, no, the Amiga has got Seattle coverage. That's right. So there will be some coverage there, but eventually when we get to California, yeah, there's going to be that. But that's, I think that is, no, I think the Amiga has got Hawaii coverage. Yeah, they released Hawaiian Odyssey for the Amiga. And Japan, Meow, Japan they released. And China, interesting. That's not on the Commodore 64, but that's on the Amiga, along with the Western European tour. Oh, will you be quiet? Stop. Stop meowing. Wow. And I may have mentioned this before, but it has disc number 12, which is New York, Halifax, and Montreal, which is nowhere to be found for the Commodore 64. I don't think that was ever made or released, although it was made for the PC, so I don't know. I don't know. And I don't think the PC version is compatible with the C64, so unfortunately. It'd be great if someone would be able to take the information off of the PC version and convert it for the Commodore 64 to use, that would give us one more section that's not covered instead of 3. So, because there's already 3 sections missing. We need full coverage, man. We need full USA coverage. Anyway, so how are we going to get to Greater Kankakee? Well, we're here at Joliet. Here is the Joliet VOR right here. If we head off into a vector of heading 140, that should get us straight there. We can intersect with the Payotone. I would say probably around 190. That should put us right around here. And should be able to land. So let's go ahead and get that set up. And I will turn that off before I forget. Take my big red Amiga mouse here. And we'll start changing things. So let's see. Let's do 112.30. Whoops. And that's going to be a vector of 140. Payotone was, whoops. I have to be careful with the mouse because if I right click it, it turns the mouse mode. As far as flying, and it's ugly trying to fly this thing with a mouse. Payotone is 113.2. Really not that far. Well, okay, that's Payotone. It's like Greater Kankakee is a little further than that. And 190. Now, have you noticed, unlike the Commodore 64, you can actually do the odd numbers, like you can actually go like 185. You couldn't do that on the Commodore 64. Okay, so believe we are all set. We are facing pretty much south, which is perfect. If we head in this direction, we should link up with this this radio, which is what we want to do. So let's go ahead and get ourselves turned around. The frame rate and the graphics are definitely a little bit better than the Commodore 64. Especially the center line. It's a lot easier to try to line yourself up with the runway this time, with this one. Plus you got this nice little center guide here. Which you can turn that off if you want to. I've always had it there. Looks like this runway is just floating out in the middle of nowhere. Alright, I believe we are all set. So let's go ahead and take off. Landing gear up. And we'll set our autopilot to 3,000 feet. Ugh. Too bad we won't get to see this area during the daytime. Not unless we fly back around this way, which we are, but I didn't really plan on flying in this area. Oh, but I might be able to make a side tour. There goes our engine again. Okay, that looks like new Linux HAL right there. Oh. We're not trying to capture this one. We're trying to capture this one. Look how exciting this is. All black with just this one white line. With the Commodore 64 version, I normally have a conversation about different types of things, and the Amiga version I don't have too much to really talk about. I'm expecting a few more things to come into the mail for my Flight Simulator series. With the other simulators. So mail hasn't come yet today, so I'm just like, is something coming today? My goodness. You know, I think I see it. I think it's up here. I see some blue. At least I thought I saw some blue. I think Greater Kankakee is right up here. Man, this plane is faster than the Commodore 64 one. Maybe it's because this thing jumps up to 160 knots. Yeah, there's blue. That's the airport. So when this needle gets close to the center, we should be able to head due south. And we should be able to line up the runway there. Control tower should be 123.0. Let's see if we can get something. Greater Kankakee information. Mike. Landing and departing runway 22. He basically wants us to go around and land at a different runway than what I want to run on. Looks like I'm getting blown off to the side. So you can see a flashing green dot here, and I believe that's like the beacon. Has it started moving yet? Let's change our autopilot. And we'll set it for, let's say 2,000 feet. Beginning to match up. Let's go ahead and get our gear down. Get one thing of flaps. I think we can turn our autopilot off. I see one runway right there. You can see the two runways, one there, one here. Okay, according to this, we should be going due south, but I think if we turn around and go this direction, I think we'll actually land on runway 22 rather than 18. Whoa, we're getting a little too low. Looks like that's got 2 runways. That can't be right. I know this is it. I know this is the airport, but it's only got 2 runways. It's got one this direction, one the other direction. More flaps. Altitude is 625. I guess we're going to find out exactly what's on here. Maybe they didn't do the airport right. Or maybe one's a taxiway and the other one... Aha, there we go. Just a little high. I see a fuel box. It's that brown thing. Oh my goodness. Whoa, that was not the right key. That's okay. It said we stalled, but you're supposed to kind of stall right before you land. As long as you are right above the runway, like just a little bit over the runway. As opposed to one of my flights where I actually stalled and went... That was not good. Here's a taxiway. We'll take this right here. I like how the Commodore 64 had blue dots. It's a lot like a like actual taxiways where you have the little lights. Where this one is just, we're just going to outline it all in blue for you. Here's our fuel box. And we literally have a box right next to it. I don't know what the box is supposed to represent. Fuel tank? right. Put your flaps back up. That's it. We're here at Greater Kankakee. So, well, that was a decent flight. Didn't take too long to get here, and we landed on the runway that we're supposed to, so that works. All right, well, thanks for tuning in, and I hope to see you on the next Amiga flight. If you thought this flight was interesting, then you might want to check it out on these other flight simulators that you see on your screen. It's just a fun way to relive old memories and see how things changed over the years. Be sure to subscribe to be notified of any new videos, and I'll see you on the next flight.